Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. We thank you for being with us on today's program. We'll start you off with a little contact information for the show, give you an idea of how to get in touch with me if you would like to get some information to us here at East Alabama Today. The best thing to do is just send me email, cbrady@tv24.tv. That's the email address we need you to use. Just send it details about your event, your community organization, things that are going on in your community or in your neck of the woods, because you guys are our eyes and ears out on the street. You help us keep up with what's going on in the 9 counties that we cover here at TV24. So let me know what's happening in your neighborhood by sending me email. Again, that email address is cbrady@tv24.tv. We also want to know about the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they have an odd or an interesting hobby and you think they'd be a great guest for the show. That's exactly who we are looking for. So send me their information as well at cbrady@tv24.tv. And if at any point in time you happen to miss a show on TV or you'd just like to go back and look at a show again, you can do that on our website at tv24.tv and go to the on-demand section. Look for East Alabama Today and you'll find a whole series of East Alabama Today shows that you can watch at your convenience on your computer or mobile device. Again, that's tv24.tv. Great show coming up for you. We're going to get started in just a moment, so hang out with us. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for being with us on the program. I told you we had a good show coming up for you today, and you're going to be really interested in what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about an organization, a local ministry called First Responders for Christ. And with me, a couple of representatives of that ministry, the founder of the ministry, Sam Lowe. Sam, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And we also have Brett Lloyd with us. Brett? Thank you for being with us. Sam is with the Gadsden Police Department, Brett with the Anniston Police Department, and Sam, the founder and the Etowah County Director, Brett, the Calhoun County Director for this ministry. And you know, Sam, I have enjoyed learning about what you guys are doing through the ministry. I wasn't familiar with it until people may recognize your face from previous news stories of the prayer on the side of the road incident that was in the news so much a few weeks ago, and yes, that's how I started learning about all the other things that you've been involved with. And right. So it's just give us a little bit of a background on First Responders for Christ.
Well, thank you for having us. And you know, I've been in law enforcement for 15 years now, but I've always felt the call to ministry. Mm-hmm. And I've over the years, I've asked my minister friends, pastor friends, you know, what do you think I could do in the ministry work? You know, just looking for something. If I could serve the Lord 24 hours a day, get up and earn my living serving God, mm-hmm, that would put me on cloud 9. So I've been searching for years, you know, kind of asking around what they think my gifts was or talent was. Mm-hmm. And I always got the same answer was, you know, why would you want to give up what you're doing when you can reach so many people in your daily job that, you know, any average pastor, any average church would love to minister to, mm-hmm, that they don't have the opportunities. As first responders, we see people in their darkest hours on a daily basis. Yeah. You know, it's everything from the domestic violence situations to the loss of loved ones, the tragedies, the family coping with a drug-addicted child, shut-ins, just our medics running the shut-ins, homeless people. It's just from the gambit from A to Z. You mm-hmm, know, our first responders are out there on the street on the first line seeing this every day. And so that's the reason I kept getting this answer over and over. You know, why would you want to give up this opportunity to reach out when, you know, you can reach so many people that the average pastor couldn't? Mm-hmm. So in 2013, I was able to go on a couple of calls that I'd probably been on 1,000 times before. And what the first one was a domestic violence situation, to where I just felt led after it was over to call a local church a pastor just about 2 blocks away from where I was at, and I gave them the information on what was going on. I said, this is a couple that's struggling in their marriage. They apparently love the Lord, but they're having problems and need some help. So I just relayed the information and asked them to come visit them on their next opportunity, their next opportunity to visit with them. So, and they'd followed up with them and prayed with them and ministered to them. And then I felt really good about that. That was a great opportunity. I felt like to combine my faith with the work.
Right.
So, and then a couple weeks later, I had another opportunity to go to a residence where a woman was depressed and suicidal. And again, I'd done it 1,000 times before probably, but on this occasion, God laid it on my heart to contact another local pastor, local church. And, it was another church a couple blocks away. I had the pastor's phone number in my phone. And I called him and said, hey, this is what's going on. Do you think you can come pray with this woman? So basically, he left what he was doing, came over, and we handed the baton to him. Yeah. We left it with him. He prayed with her, ministered to her. And after that, the light came on. Yeah. I said, if, maybe this is what God's wanting me to do, as where I'm at, serving where I'm at. So, I asked myself, what's the difference in myself and any other first responder, in the world? How can I do this and everybody else can't? It's because I have a phone number full of phones of local churches and pastors just from personal relationships.
Right.
So that's basically how the ministry is born. First Responders for Christ is, what we do is we're that connecting hub between the area churches and the first responders. Not every first responder, like I said, has those contacts with the local churches. So what we want to do is to be the go-between. How it works is we go into an area, notify the local churches of who we are and what we do, and basically just ask them, say, would you like to be notified of needs in your community that our first responders come across? Yeah. And they're all chomping at the bit. Yes.
Yeah,
please tell us.
Yeah.
So and once they've agreed to basically just answer the phone when we call and try to minister whatever needs come up, we consider them ministry partners at that point. And then once we get the churches in the area notified, we'll go out to the first responders and say, hey, this is who we are. We're in connection with these churches. This is how we can help you. This is, you're here because you have love for the community, or you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. Right. And it gives them an extra tool in their tool belt to go above and beyond what they're normally doing. Because most of the problems that we run across on a daily basis is not something we can fix with what we're trained to do.
Right.
So it gets a deeper situation that, we can interject Christ into the situation through the churches, then, maybe we can resolve the problem, whatever the deeper issue is.
Gives a whole different meaning to being a first responder, because not only are you the first responder to whatever emergency or situation you're called in, whether you're a fire medic or a police officer, but then you can also be that spiritual first responder for them as well.
Exactly. And people ask us, who are the first responders for Christ? Well, it's a group effort. It's the first responder that's there on the scene, but then the people coming from the church to assist whatever the need it is, they're also considered a first responder for Christ, okay? Because they're coming out, and what we're wanting to do is place the community needs in front of the churches as opportunities for evangelism and outreach. Yeah. It's not just a handout. We want to give these churches an opportunity to minister to people so people can see the church active in the community, be in the hands and feet of Christ as they were meant to be, so that people can see this going on, and hopefully somewhere in the process somebody will come to faith in Christ. Yeah. By seeing the churches active and meeting their needs as Christ instructed us to do.
Exactly. So, I've always felt that was part of the job of the church, is being in the community, reaching out into the community, and not just having a church service on Sunday morning for people to come to, getting out into the community and reaching out to folks.
Yes, sir.
Brett, talk about your involvement. How did you get involved with First Responders for Christ?
I was at work, like you said, I work at the Anniston Police Department. I was at work one day, and one of our captains was the Calhoun County director at the time. He called me in his office, and thinking, what did I do? But he started talking to me, and we share common faith, and he just said that the Lord had laid it on his heart that he is his youth director at his church also, and he said, I feel like I'm supposed to put more emphasis on my youth, and I'm not being able to put as much effort into the first responders as I need to. And I've been praying about it, and the Lord told me to ask you to take it over. And after the initial shock, I went and talked to my wife and prayed about it, and felt led to do the same. So I've been on now since a little before Christmas, I think, and we've seen some great things just in that time. I know Sam, through our Facebook page, requested donations to be able to reach out to children in each of the counties that we serve for Christmas, to be able to provide Christmas presents for kids that otherwise wouldn't have anything. And so through Calhoun, I was really praying and seeing, Lord, show me who we need to sponsor, because we got so many people in need in every county in the state. And probably it wasn't long at all after Sam posted that one individual donated the whole amount that we asked for.
Oh, wow.
So we were able to buy for children in each of the counties we serve just from that one generous donation, and it went a long way. My wife and I bought for the child that we came up with in Calhoun, whose mom had went on a hard time. The father figure in the house had just left, abandoned them. 2 kids in the home. She was without a job, and she said, I can't buy anything for my kids. So my wife and I were able to purchase presents with the money allotted for our county, ended up buying things for both the kids. And I ran into that mother a few weeks ago in a local pawn shop. I was just looking around, looking at guns, and I ran into her and recognized her and started talking to her, and she pulled her phone out and showed me a picture of her kids on Christmas morning wearing the stuff that we had been able to buy for them. So it's a blessing, it really is.
Absolutely. We're already at a point we need to take a commercial break, so let's do that. We'll come back and talk more about First Responders for Christ here in East Alabama when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. We're talking with Sam Lowe and Brett Lloyd about First Responders for Christ here in East Alabama. And guys, you guys are police officers, but when we're talking about first responders, we're talking about police officers, firefighters, medics, ambulance workers. Anybody who is a first responder can be a part of your organization.
That's correct. That's correct. That's like I said, we try to marry the first responders with the area churches, and like I said, what you're saying is local police, fire, and EMS is what we consider first responders. So that's basically how this works. Is the first responder goes to a scene, sees a need that she feels like might be able to be addressed by local community church. They'll call our 1-800 number, and if it's a Calhoun County need, they'll push 2, and it'll go to Brett. He'll forward it to an area church, and they'll try to meet that need, whatever it is. So, and the same thing, the call the 1-800 number. It's a call center more or less, and it directs the calls to the county, to the director that it needs. So if the call comes into me, say from Matala, a first responder there sees a shut-in that needs help getting to a doctor's appointment. Okay, something, or an elderly person needs help with their landscaping, or anything. Any need that an area church might be able to meet, with the love of Christ. They'll forward that to me through the call center. I'll take down the information, relay it to the local church, one of our ministry partners, and they just pick up the ball from there. All we are is really the middlemen between the first responders and the area churches. So, and what we also like to, like you said, minister to the public on our own when we can. And also we're here for the first responders. Like when one gets sick or one gets injured, we try to do what we can to raise money for them through our website. For instance, Gary Pierce, Sergeant Pierce, he had his motorcycle accident last spring. It's been about a year ago now. We were able to utilize our website and our online donation method. The media was able to use that and broadcast that information. Several $1,000s came in through our website for that family, for Sergeant Pierce. So, and also another local firefighter who had a house fire on his own, and needed some financial assistance. So we put out a call on our Facebook page, and then through the the online donation method we have, the money came in to help them. So it's a tool also. Just we're a group for the community. However we can help, we want to help. And do it with the love of Christ in the process. So.
Talk about the process of actually being on the scene. As a police officer, you guys are trained to be focused. You have to be hard at times. You have to be hardened against what you're seeing or what you're experiencing a lot of times. When do you take off that police officer, law enforcement armor to become the minister? How do you make that transition, especially after maybe something that was pretty intense?
Right. Well, that's kind of a barrier we come across in what we're doing. We're having to, as first responders, you see so much, you do so much, you build a wall so they don't affect you personally and emotionally. And of course we do it obviously because we care for the people in the community that we're in. We don't do it for the money, I promise. But it's just we're having to reach out. When we do reach out to our first responders, we're having to remind them the reason they started this in the first place, and to try to reignite that love for their community so that they can take those shields down and see the situations in front of them and have compassion. Where a lot of times we might just say, get finished with the call as quick as we can and go to the next one.
Right.
We give individual attention to what we're looking at and try to see the root of the problem, and just open our eyes to the needs around us.
And a good example of that is the story that we started off talking about, the traffic stop that you made up on Peyton Rich Avenue. Yes. The man was talking, you asked why he was in a hurry, and he responded that his wife had called, she was sick, he was trying to get home to check on her because he thought she might have to go to the hospital.
Right.
And instead of continuing with the normal stop, you just had this compassion moment where you gave him his information back and said, just be careful. And then that turned into a major event that that's led to tons of coverage in the media for your organization.
Right. I believe that was totally sent by God to open, for the situation at hand, to try to rebuild the connection between the black community and the local police officers.
Right.
That, we can see that this is not, it don't have to be, a relationship does not have to be animosity. There's not have to be animosity between us. And what bridged that gap that day was the love of Christ. We had a common faith in Christ. And that was the only thing we had in common that day.
Right.
That's all it took. And it's not that I went out of my way or did anything special that day. I feel like I ask everybody when I stop them for spitting, any reason in a hurry. People have legitimate reasons sometimes. And, so I always want to give them an opportunity to explain their situation. And, I've probably done it, like I said, 1,000 times before. If they got a legitimate reason, I feel like they're being honest with me, and they got a legitimate concern or for a reason they're doing what they're doing, I'll cut them a break. And, what he did, what Mr. Cowser did, he answered the call of God, and he had in his heart that told him to step out and pray with me. So he was the one who had the courage to step out on the side of the road and take a police officer by the hand and pray over him.
Right.
So, a lot of attention came from that, but I can't take any credit for anything. It's God and Mr. Cowser that listened to the call. Mr. Cowser did, and it has opened up opportunities for us to come speak to you today about this ministry. So I believe it was God's in the beginning. His hands have been all over it. So. Right.
Yeah. Either one of you can answer this. When you go to your fellow police officers, fellow first responders, what kind of response are you getting from those guys and girls, and especially from the hierarchy? You guys work basically for municipal organizations, for cities, for counties, things like that, and sometimes the mixing of the faith with work is frowned upon a little bit. How has that been accepted by people?
Well, the first responders, I guess the lower level tiers, officers and medics and firemen, they're all excited about it because, like I said a while ago, it gives them opportunities to help people with it that their training so far cannot cover. They don't have the tools on their belt or in their bag to fix whatever the situation is. So they're excited about it. And as far as being a minister on the job, that's not what we're asking really people to do. We're wanting just the first responders to open their eyes to the needs around them again, like they did when they first started the job, and take heart and be compassionate to what they see going on around them, and just relay the information back to us. We're not asking them to go to be ministers and praying with people on the scene, and because a lot of people aren't comfortable doing that. A lot of people might not have the faith, or they don't feel like they have the skills, or they're not comfortable doing it in general. Because like you said, there's often a conflict between work and faith when you try to mix the two, especially in government. So all we're really wanting the first responders to do is to recognize the needs around them and relay them back to us, and just see the opportunities and the needs, and so we can give them we can relay them back to the churches as opportunities for outreach.
Right. So. I find it impressive to me that I looked at your list of board of directors on the website. Chief Benefield from Heflin is on your board of directors. I imagine that it's tremendous push to have a chief support within an organization as well.
Yeah, like Sam said, with the lower level officers, medics, fire guys, they haven't had anything but good feedback to us. But I can't speak for Gadsden, but I know at Anniston our chief is a man of faith, and we actually are involved with a couple of local churches. Just at our PD, we have music minister from one of the churches. He comes in. It's completely voluntary. If you don't share the same faith, don't have to sit through it. But he comes in and he'll do a short devotion in the morning during the roll calls periodically. And then we have another minister that comes by, and he'll stay in our conference room most of the morning. And if anybody wants to go in and talk to him, share anything with him, pray with him, he's open for that. And Chief Denham's been a big supporter of that. So, and it seems to help the work environment, because you got unique stresses in the fields that we're in that some people don't experience, and some people don't know how to adequately channel those feelings that they have when they see stuff for so many years, and it just builds up. It can create issues in their personal life sometimes. So.
What can the public do to help you guys support your ministry?
Well, the first thing is, if you're a member of a church and you feel like y'all need to be involved with this program, you can contact us through our 1-800 number, our website, or our Facebook page, and say, give us more information. I'm sure our church would love to partner with y'all and be made aware of the needs in our community. That could be just a member of the congregation or the pastor or anybody. Just put us in touch with the people at your church, and let us know what we need to do to get in touch with you when the time comes. So basically, and then if you're a first responder, if you think you want to be involved in this and help us get the word out about this program, feel free to contact us. Like I said, Facebook, phone number, or website. We need more help to get the word out. So right now in Etowah County, we've got, I believe, around 25 churches that are ministry partners. I think we're a long way to go, but and we're in that process now of getting. We're reaching out to all the first responders, doing ministry presentations at all the local agencies, police, fire, and EMS. Giving them materials, handouts, brochures, letting them know what our ministry is about. So, and in the Marshall, Calhoun, and Cleveland counties, we're still in the ministry partner building phases, to where we're reaching out to those local churches and in preparation to reach out to the first responders. You have to kind of build it in steps, but as far as we are totally funded by donations. We are a nonprofit, 501c3, so any donations that do come in are tax deductible. And we do have, like any ministry, we have administrative costs, printing our materials, our website, telephone, upkeep. Every dollar helps reach out to the first responders and to the churches, and just to get the word out about what we're doing. We hope that within 6 to 8 months or so, First Responders for Christ will be a household name. Yeah. And we've already been, partnered here in Etowah County, with the Red Cross and United Way, and several other agencies have already contacted us, wanting us to, to be available when a disaster comes, because we have the contact with the churches that they don't have. So even your go-to Red Cross, United Way, emergency disaster response agencies are looking to us now to put them in touch with the
to make those
churches.
Connections.
Yes, so it's really a no-brainer, and I don't know why it hasn't been done before. I feel like God's given us a unique vision here, and as far as I know, nobody in the world is doing it this way. So hopefully it'll carry on from Northeast Alabama to the state, to the country. What we're building here is a very easily replicatable system that it can spread like wildfire with proper promotion and backing. So, and it's a huge opportunity, like I said, for the churches and first responders and the community at large. And when all is said and done, though, the end goal is that people come to faith in Christ.
Time for us to take another break. We'll be back with a quick wrap-up in just a moment, so hang out. Well, here you see it, First Responders for Christ, reaching our community one call at a time. There's an 800 number that you can call for more information. Great website, very informational website with a lot of stuff on there, firstrespondersforchrist.com. And you can look them up on Facebook, First Responders for Christ, and see all the information on Facebook as well in order to get in touch with these guys. They're willing to come and speak at your church, your community organization, things like that to help spread the word. And guys, thank you for being on the show. Thank you so much for the work you do, both for the community as police officers. Very, very dangerous job. We appreciate you guys being out there on the front lines for us and being on the front lines spiritually as well. That's a great combination, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks, for joining us here on TV 24, East Alabama Today. Hope you have a great day. We'll be back with you next time.